Here is a book about my Uncle Tony. He's 91. He had COVID when he was 90 3 times, and he survived. He survived the Korean War. He almost got killed. He almost got killed in Viet Nam. He had Agent Orange after Viet Nam. He had cancer from Agent Orange after Viet Nam. And he survived that, and he recently got the money from it. You know, they paid out the money to these veterans when they're almost dead, which is no surprise. He grew up, Tony DeAngelis grew up in Rochester and Irondequoits during the Great Depression. And his adolescence was shaped by the global shift of World War II. He joined the Army when he was 15, and he lied about his age. They knew it. The military knew it. You know, they were taking a lot of people like that. His brother was 16, I think, when he got in. During the Cold War, he found himself engaged in tracking Soviet intelligence, leading him all over the world and allowing him to meet incredible individuals. He was attaché to a general. He followed a general around, you know, his bodyguard, chauffeur, whatever, you know. And he was in Burma. They were almost captured by the junta or whatever, whatever. He had a lot of interesting things, and it says here he left the military after 21 years. He was a successful career in sales of copiers, and he worked for everybody selling copiers except for Xerox and Kodak, which is odd that he was originally from Rochester. He's deeply passionate about politics and involved in many political campaigns. He was next to Scoop Jackson, the Democrat, when he lost, and then he switched parties to Republican, and he helped George Bush, his longtime friend, to get elected. George ate supper over, the House, whatever. I mean, anyways, it's an interesting book. I'll show you some pictures here. A life lived with rich and exotic experiences, highlight with an astonishing escapade as a Cold World spy. Time when the world hung by a threatening World War III. That could be now. His wife was from Denmark. She served, she was in World War II, during the war in Denmark, and she served in the Danish embassy in Germany afterwards. She was, multilingual. She's recently passed away. Here is, this is buying the book or whatever, it's some of the details here or whatever, but anyways, this is him. I'll read it at what it says in a minute. This is in the Burma embassy. That's a Russian there. And the joke is they're probably both spies, my Uncle Tony, whatever. Let me read what this says. Surviving is such a joy. He was almost killed before he was born. My grandmother was stabbed. He survived Korea, Vietnam, cancer, Agent Orange, COVID 3 times. Anyways, look at what this letter says here. Look at what this says. I got to read this. May 3rd, 1960, night of the U-2 incident. Gary Powers' U-2 got shot down, his X-15. Enjoying casual talk with Soviet military attaché. It says in Rangoon, Burma, the embassy. He worked in the embassy there. He told the story about when they were almost captured. They were surrounded by the crowd and they were banging the door down, and they didn't have enough soldiers to stop them. In the last second, when they knocked the door down, the Burma general, or whatever, the dictator, rescued them. And he says they could have did it sooner, but they did it the last second just to let them know, that they were in charge. He's got a lot of interesting stories. He was in Fort Dix, I remember during the Viet Nam War. I remember going down there. I was just a kid. I was fascinated. He was, I think, a drill sergeant for a while, and I think he was a recruiter. And it was interesting being down there, a kid, looking at the army soldiers and tanks, but interesting. Tony with his wife, this is probably 50 years ago, at least. Beginning of the book, he said, I survived my mother's knife attack 9 months prior to my birth. Future challenges: Korean combat, Vietnam War, fending off Burmese mob, engaging with a Russian spy. He was a spy. Cancer, sales quota. He got fired from a few companies. He set records and then he wouldn't make the quota and they fire him. But he knew he was going to be successful, because he seemed to get by all this stuff. I guess there's people in my family that seem to have 9 lives. They always seem to be able to start over. Says, is not the strongest nor the intelligent that survives, but the one that is most adaptable. Charles Darwin. There's a chapter in the book. Now his father was probably dead before he was born, if I remember. He had a brain tumor. He didn't do well. He was wounded in World War I. He was a Italian immigrant without papers. It was called a WAP, without papers. He joined the military in World War I, and his father became a U.S. citizen. But it was a hard life for his father, and he didn't live to see his kids grow up. It says he joined the military age 16, actually 15 they signed him up. At 16 he was in Fort Dix. There he is in the service. Korea, age 18, almost killed. Was in Japan, Burma, Germany, Vietnam, Denmark, all over the world. This is, I don't know, 1950s, and this is still going on today. It says Burmese troops fire at demonstrators at U.S. Embassy. 10,000 in Rangoon riot against U.S. My uncle was almost captured in it or whatever. It was almost like the Iranian hostage thing. But still dictator running Burma. Still a he was in Fort Dix when he was 33. I remember visiting there. I was a little kid and I was thrilled. Standing with Yugoslav military attache in Burma, chief of intelligence. See, that's my uncle right there, and that's these two, Burma guy, and that's the Yugoslav guy. He met all these people. Parties with generals and diplomats, politicians. He met all these people. What was his name? Jimmy the Greek. He was at the stayed in the hotel with him, Jimmy the Greek, and Senator Sam Erwin, and on and on and on. He knows the Bushes. Here that guy is again. U-2 crisis. Colonel Popov was one of the USSR's top spies, and uncles with him. Enjoying drinks with Colonel Ivanov. Got his boss murdered. There he is now. Was it 91? This is Tony DeAngelis' memoirs he wrote during COVID. His wife had passed away, and he had time on his hands, I guess. He had COVID 3 times, but he survived. Kind of amazing right there,